The sine and cosine functions are extremely important periodic functions that we use in grade 11 math and onwards. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you what they look like and what some of their key features are. So let's start with the sine function. So if we were to take all of our angles from 0 to 360, and these are our special angles that we've learned about, and figure out what their values are for sine, we can then plot that on a graph going from between 1 and -1 from 0 to 360. So for example, sine of 0 is 0, sine of 30 would be 1/2, and so on until you have all these points. So then when we draw it out, I'm doing the best I can here, it looks something like that. Now that is one full cycle of the sine function, but it can go on and on and on, either to the right or to the left. All right, well, what about a cosine function? So let's look at all of their values, and then we'll plot those points. So the cos of 0 is actually 1, so we're going to be starting up here instead of at the origin. And then we'll plot all those points for one full cycle from 0 to 360. And when we connect the points, it looks something like this here. And again, it can repeat and repeat all the way to the left and to the right. It looks very similar to a sine function, just shifted a bit. We'll talk more about that in our next tutorial when we look at transformations for sine and cosine functions. But for now, let's go over some of these key properties that we learned about in our previous tutorial on periodic functions. So here I have 3 different sine waves, and in them we're going to identify their maximum, minimum, amplitude. Something new, which I'll tell you about, is the equation of the sinusoidal axis, period, domain, and range. So first, let's do the first one, our maximum value. In this case, the maximum goes up to 2. And we'll find the minimum value, which in this case goes down to -2. The amplitude, which we've learned is from that middle point to your maximum, which would be this, or from the middle point to your minimum, which would be this. They're the same thing. So what we can do is just find the difference between max and min, which would be 2 subtract -2, which is 4, and then divide by 2. So that gives us an amplitude of 2. All right, well, what's the equation of the sinusoidal axis? Well, remember I just talked about that middle point where we draw our amplitude to? That is the sinusoidal axis. So in this case, that is y equals 0. And that's going to be important as well in the next episode when we do vertical shifts. Next, our period. So looks like one full cycle starts here. We go up, down, and then back to where we're starting from. So in this case, we're going to 360 and then again all the way to 720. So this one has a period of 720 degrees. So our domain is next, and this goes on forever to the left and to the right for all real values of x. And finally, our range goes between our max and min, so we have -2 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to +2 for all real values. All right, not so bad. Let's try the other two. So the maximum value is up here at 2. So max equals 2. Our minimum value is all the way down here at -4. So minimum is -4. So our amplitude then, well, let's find the difference. So 2 subtract -4, which is 6, divided by 2. So our amplitude is 3. Okay, where is that midpoint? Well, we can find the midpoint in 2 ways. We can either go to the maximum, which is 2, and subtract the amplitude, which brings us essentially down to 1. Or we can go to the minimum point and add the amplitude, which brings us again to that value, -1. So that center or equation of the sinusoidal axis is y equals -1. Our period, well, let's look at a point to start from. So if we're going to start from 0, because that's easy, okay, we're going to go up and down right back here. So this here to here is one full cycle. So 0 to 180. Now you can just find the difference and do 180 minus 0, which is just 180. Now you don't have to do it from those points. If you preferred, you could have done it from, say, here to here. From -90 to +90. When you find the difference, that's still 90 subtract -90, which is 180. That would be your period. They are the same. Okay, you could also do it here. And in this case, you would go to here, wherever the cycle repeats itself. That's your period. Next, our domain. This is for all real values of x. And our range is between our max and min. So -4 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 2 for all real values. All right, let's try one more. So our max value for this one is right here at 0.5. Our min value is at -0.5. And so our amplitude from here to here, which is 0.5. Our equation for our sinusoidal axis is right in the middle. So that's y equals 0. And our period, let's start at 0 because it's easy. And where we are repeating is 180. So period is 180 degrees. Then we have domain, which is all real values for x. And range, we are between -0.5. Oh, I'm going to run out of room here. 0.5 for, I'll just write it down here, all real values for y. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, let me know. And also, if you plan on taking grade 12 physics for a limited time, in the description, you can download my entire course pack that I use for that course for free. Check it out, and thanks for watching.